Hello to all my friends and family, and welcome to this edition of Jim's 5 a.m. Club. It's lunchtime in the city. The rain has stopped momentarily. It's overcast, a little bit breezy, but it's a beautiful, beautiful day. So what I thought I'd do is, like most days, I'm just going to go on a walk and talk and cover a book summary. And the book summary that we're going to talk about today is entitled The Courage Habit by Kate Swaboda. Kate Swaboda wrote a book on the courage habit. So I guess this book is all about learning how to express courage and strength, and we'll see where it takes us, where it leads us, and what we can learn from it. What the author here kicks off the book with is a beautiful quote. And the quote is, "In being willing to simply believe that options are available, you're more likely to find them." So just by thinking and considering that there are options to solve a problem, or options to leverage, just by thinking that is enough for your brain to go away and find answers and find options. Something to dwell on, something to think about, and something that we all need to incorporate in our daily patterns. So the author then goes on to talk about the following: that learning how to beat what you're afraid of by improving your emotional routines and defeating your limiting beliefs is something that is available to each and every one of us. So there are tools, there are hacks, life hacks, there are ways of thinking that we can incorporate in our daily patterns that can help us master our fears and our emotions. So the first formal point to come out of this book from this author basically suggests that if you want to have more courage, and we all need more courage because we've got lots of people around us who are all trying to limit us and enable us to be worried and scared and to live in fear. You can just see it. You can see it on the news, you can see it on Facebook, you can see it on social media. There are people who band together to try and disempower people, take away their hope, take away their dreams by their limited sort of beliefs. I'm not sure how to best describe it. But if you want to have more courage, accept that you have the permission to identify with what you want most in life and to go for it. So what the author here is suggesting is that you have the permission. You don't have to get the permission from anybody. You have the permission to be courageous. You have the permission to take on whatever you want to take on, and be your own hero. Because the author then also talks about the greatest hero that you'll ever come across is you. You know, we claim that lots of people are heroes, but there's no greater hero than you, given what we've all gone through in our lives and given the challenges that we're all going to face in the future. But the greatest hero that you haven't yet come across is the future version of you. You know, the version of you at the moment is great and, you know, is work in progress. But if you take it upon yourself and you give yourself permission to be courageous, then what you're doing is you're basically unleashing the potential future version of you, which can potentially be the greatest hero that the world has ever seen, most importantly in your world. So the call to action from this author and from this book here is to unleash your hero and imagine, just sit and imagine, take time to imagine your liberated day, the day that you liberate the hero in your life. So the second formal point to come out of this book here is where the author says that it's important to sit back and reflect and to do some homework. And the sort of homework that the author encourages each and every one of us to do is to understand the many patterns you follow when you let fear paralyze you. Because we've got to be realistic. We all have different fears. And those fears sometimes are overwhelming and they paralyze us in ways which we know and other ways which we're not quite aware of. But we need to do something to build our confidence, because many people are struggling because they live in fear. And we go through stages, we go through phases in our lives, according to the author, where each and every one of us are going to be confronted by some tremendous challenges which are going to ask us to stand up and be fearless, or to cower and be fearful. So the author then takes it to the next level and talks about the 4 different personas that we need to understand in order to understand who we are and what we can leverage. So the different personas are as follows in terms of personality types. So there's a type called the Perfectionist, and a lot of us have aspects of perfectionism where we just won't do anything unless all the stars align and everything is absolutely perfect. And for that reason, there are people who are constantly unsatisfied and overwhelmed and don't take on too much in their life, because guess what? The stars are not going to align every single day. You're constantly going to find something which is not just right. You're going to be a little bit like the Little Red Riding Hood, I think it is. No, it's not Little Red Riding Hood. Who's the other one? Goldilocks, where it's either too hot or too cold, and the bed's too hard or too soft. So nothing is ever going to be right, because nothing is going to be perfect. We live in a world which doesn't throw up perfection, especially to the people who don't look for opportunity and are just stuck in what's wrong with this and what's wrong with that. So we've got the perfectionist, and there are lots of perfectionists that I know, and lo and behold, a lot of those perfectionists are the ones who are also the people who are afraid to get started, to get things done. They never start a diet because they just think that they will never lose weight, or the diet is not right, or the exercise program is not right. So the next type, the next persona that we have got is the Saboteur. The Saboteur, the one who basically sabotages themselves all the time. You know the ones I'm talking about, the ones who get very excited initially, then slowly but surely they lose passion, then they become inconsistent in their application, and they eventually give up and get excited about another project, where they get excited, then they slowly lose passion, they become inconsistent and give up. And their life is full of starts, but very, very few finishes. The third persona is the martyr, the people pleaser, who give up their own dreams, give up all of their dreams in order to serve others, which is a noble thing. But guess what? A lot of these martyrs end up 30, 40 years down the track hating themselves and hating the world around them because they didn't fulfill their basic desires and they gave everything to everybody else and sadly got nothing in return because they lived with expectation. They wanted to get something in return, and sadly society, people, family, partners aren't all that gracious and they don't know how to express gratitude all that well, and they end up feeling used and abused and very bitter and disappointed. And the last persona that the author talks about in this book is the pessimist. Wow, one thing I hate more than anything else is a person who's a pessimist. I've got to tell you, I just can't stand them. And a pessimist will always say nothing will work out. So because in their eyes nothing will ever work out and nothing's worth trying, then they don't even bother getting started. They don't even bother getting involved. And all they do is spend their lives just pouring cold water on everybody else's dreams, everybody else's relationships, and become very, very draining and oh so painful. So the last formal point to come out of this book here from this author is that we need to learn how to reframe our excuses in order to beat them. Now, we can't go through life with a litany of excuses in terms of why we haven't done this and why we haven't done that. And as I say to lots of people, we need to spend lots of time finding excuses in order to do things rather than wasting our lives looking for excuses why not to do things. So we need to be aware and of limiting stories. The most important thing in our lives is not to allow limiting stories to dominate us. The limiting stories that others tell us, the limiting stories that the media purvey across social media, the limiting stories that family thrust upon us. But more importantly, the limiting stories that we say to ourselves. We need to learn how to take these limiting views around us and all of the noise and to use it as a catalyst to turn things around. Don't swim against it, but learn to swim with it and use it as a catalyst, use it as a lever, use it as a springboard to enable you to do the things that you need to do. So the call to action, the basic call to action is whatever we do, don't use excuses to stay comfortable. Whatever you do, make yourself uncomfortable, because it's in those uncomfortable moments that we're growing, we're developing, and we're becoming the best version of ourselves. So the author encourages us to identify a part of our life that you feel stuck in and complete the following phrase: I'm frustrated because. In order to find out those parts of your life that you're stuck in, you need to commence with the words, "I'm frustrated because," and whatever is blurted out by your conscious or even your subconscious will be the answer that you're looking for. So finally, the author asks us to be diligent and to write out our limiting stories. Take time to author in your journal all of those stories that are limiting you, and not only limiting you, but they're limiting those around us as well. And once you've written them all down, then you need to deliberately redirect them to become positive and empowering stories. So the power is in you. The power is in each and every one of us to be the authors of our future stories and to become the hero that we're bound to be. It's our birthright. So I think I'll leave it there. So thank you very much for joining me on this special episode of Jim's 5 a.m. Club. And I'm really pleased with this episode. And the book summary that we've just covered is entitled The Courage Habit by Kate Swaboda. And I better start heading back because the rain's starting to come across the harbour. As you can see, it's heading this way. So let me just head back and get out of the rain. So let's finish off with a positive affirmation. I'm alive, I am well, and I feel absolutely great. To my friends and family, stay connected, stay relevant, stay reasonable. I look forward to coming to you again from a different location with a different message, a message of empowerment to help us get through the morning, get through the day, get through our lives, where we can be the wind beneath our wings, the wave beneath our board, the zephyr that billows our sails and flutters our flags. Well, here we go, the rain's just pouring in now. Let me head up here to the Museum of Contemporary Art. How funny. Woo. Right, I'm out of the rain now. Whoa. Gee, that came quickly. Anyway, thank you once again for joining me, and we'll chat again shortly. I'll come to you from a different location with a different message, and we'll see where it leads us. Take care. Yasas for Ya from Jim's 5 a.m. Club. Bye for now.